Alright, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Swagner 17. Today we're starting our weekly series where I predict each winner of the NFL games every week. I did this last year. I had a pretty high correct percentage. I don't know what you want to call it, but I predicted pretty well last year. I predicted a lot of teams' playoff records and making it into the playoffs. I predicted quite a few playoff matchups and just weekly games. Let's say there's 16 games. On average, I was getting probably like 10. I was going like 10 and 6 each week. But this time, we are going to hopefully improve upon that. Starting off with Week 1, let's go ahead and get right into it. So the Packers versus the Bears. I think this is going to be a pretty good game. I think the Packers are an incomplete team right now. I think the Bears' only question is their quarterback, which I think he's going to answer. Mitchell Trubisky's going to have a solid season, probably over 3,000 yards, but I really think the Bears' running game is where they're going to find success. They have 3 really good running backs, and I think the running back by committee is a real deal in the NFL this year. Packers do the same thing. Eagles, Seahawks, teams that do that exact same thing. There's no one set running back. They use multiple, and it's pretty effective. But I think the Packers' defense is pretty suspect. But as we know, the Bears' defense is complete shutdown. No, my iCloud storage, we don't need to worry about that. Without further ado, I don't know why I said without further ado, but my prediction is that the Bears will beat the Packers in a really good game this Thursday. Moving on to Sunday. Oh my God, Sunday is going to be such a good day. We have the Chiefs versus the Jaguars. I think this is a really good game to start out with, but I do think the Chiefs are going to get the job done. I don't think we're going to see such an offensive explosion from the Chiefs. I'd have to give credit to the Jaguars' defense. They are pretty good. We'll see how Nick Foles does as quarterback, but I think the Chiefs are going to get the job done and get the W. Moving on, we have the Falcons versus the Vikings. This is another good matchup. Week 1's full of really good matchups all across the board. Falcons versus Vikings. This is pretty interesting here. I don't really know who to choose. As long as there's no injuries right off the bat, just like last year. That's a big thing with these early predictions is you don't know. You feel like someone's always going to get injured, unfortunately, and hopefully the Falcons. I mean, I'm a Saints fan, but I don't want to wish injury upon anyone. But if the Falcons don't have any injuries within the first half, I think they get the job done and they beat the Vikings. Next up, we have the Titans versus the Browns. This is just a really good game. And the funny thing is, which I didn't even know that this was a Week 1 matchup, but in my previous video where I predicted the Super Bowl champion and the playoff schedule and all that, I said the Titans would face the Browns in Wild Card Weekend, and I think I'm going to stick with that. And we could potentially be seeing this matchup Week 1. So this is a pretty good game here. Oh, man. Derrick Henry's going to have a really good game, I predict, but I think the Browns get the job done. Winning on Week 1 for the first time, and who knows the last time they did that. I bet they're going to pull up a statistic. If you watch the Browns game on Sunday, the Browns are going to win, and they're going to say, oh, this is the Browns' first win on opening day since 2009. I don't know. But moving on, Bills against the Jets, another good game. Like I said, all these games are pretty good, pretty competitive. It is Week 1. We don't know every team's true potential, but I do say the Jets have the better squad. Bills have a few questions on offense, but their defense is really good, but I don't think it's good enough to stop Robbie Anderson and Le'Veon Bell. It's going to be a good game. Jets get the win. Next up, we have the Ravens versus the Dolphins. The Dolphins, this is where... I could sit here and say the Dolphins are going to go 0-16 right now. The Dolphins, the only thing they have done is secured their first overall draft pick for next year. Like, if I was a Dolphins player right now, I don't know how you have any motivation to play for this season. Like, it's just terrible if you're a Dolphins fan or a Dolphins player or Dolphins anything. I'm sorry, but the Ravens are going to probably blow out the Dolphins, and I don't know if the Dolphins will score any points, if I'm being honest. Redskins versus Eagles. Some pretty historic games between these two teams. I want to say Deshaun Jackson back on the Eagles. And for some reason, Deshaun Jackson against the Redskins, he's notorious for torching them. And opening plays and opening games, he's just electric for some reason. He's going to have a big play touchdown. I know it. And the Eagles are going to win. Rams against the Panthers, really good matchup. Potential playoff game for the future. I think the Panthers are a really good team this year. And I think, oh man, this is tough. This good of a game this early on. And the Rams face the Saints next week, so that's pretty interesting. Rams have a tough schedule. Saints have a tough schedule. But I think the Rams get the win. In Carolina? It's going to be a good game. Rams get the win. But I predict one of the Rams players is going to get injured. All right, Colts versus Chargers. Andrew Luck obviously gone, but I don't want to count out the Colts just yet. I say they'll still play solid, but the Chargers will still get the win. Moving on, we have... This is like the first game that's AFC versus NFC. Probably one of the only games. Yep, besides the Saints and Texans. But anyways, Bengals versus Seahawks. Interesting matchup here. I honestly think the Bengals are one of the worst teams in the NFL, along with the Dolphins. So I say the Seahawks get the win pretty easily in Seattle. Next up, Giants at Cowboys. It's going to be a pretty darn good game. Though the Giants are not that good, I want to say I don't know the quarterback situation there. Haven't been looking too much into it. But I want to say within the first couple weeks, we're going to see Daniel Jones, and he's going to play pretty well. Not so much as like a Patrick Mahomes, like he blew up. But I want to say Daniel Jones plays solid, but the Cowboys are going to get the win, obviously. Moving on, 49ers against the Buccaneers, another interesting matchup. I don't think the Buccaneers are very good, along with the Giants and Redskins as well. Buccaneers are one of the worst teams in the NFC, well, along with these next two teams. But I don't think the Buccaneers stand a chance against the 49ers. The 49ers have a very good offense. Jimmy Garoppolo throwing to George Kittle, Dante Pettis, and Marquise Goodwin. That's a pretty solid core. And when they get their running backs healthy, I think the 49ers will be very good. They're going to win this game pretty easily. Next up, we have probably one of the worst matchups of Week 1. The Lions versus the Cardinals. These are two very not good franchises at the moment. It's hard to even predict who's going to get the win. I mean, honestly, I think the Cardinals are one of the worst teams, but I want to give them... I don't even want to call it the upset of the week. I used to do upset of the weeks, blowout of the weeks, game of the weeks. I didn't really do that in this video. I just forgot about that. I was going to say I wouldn't call the Cardinals against the Lions a upset, but I do think the Cardinals will beat the Lions. But don't expect the Cardinals to do very well this season. All right, Sunday Night Football. We have the Steelers against the Patriots. Patriots notorious for winning on opening day, but as of recently, kind of losing on opening day. They lost to the Chiefs 2 years ago. Last year, I don't remember what happened, but I think the Patriots win. They're at home. They don't really lose in prime time. They don't really lose at all, period. So expect nothing less. I think the Steelers are they're pretty not good at football right now, unless they prove me wrong. But I think the Steelers are not making the playoffs, and it's going to start with a Week 1 loss to the Patriots. All right, moving up to the first of two Monday night games. Week 1 always does that. 2 Monday night games. We have the Saints against the Texans in New Orleans. This is one of the best games of the week, in my opinion. We have a young Texans offense going up against a young Saints defense, and an elite Saints offense going up against a pretty good Texans defense. This is going to be a good game. It's in New Orleans. I give the Saints home field advantage, and I say they get the job done. That's my team. I got to go with my team. I think they're good enough. They have to start out with a Week 1 win. I don't remember the last time the Saints won in Week 1. I'm going to have to look that up because it's kind of ridiculous. The Saints just don't win Week 1 matchups, but those are crucial. You got to start out with the win. You can't get the ball rolling too late. I mean, you do have to finish strong, but you do have to start fast. The Saints need to win this game. All right, moving on to the next we have the Broncos against the Raiders. Now, both of these teams are kind of in rebuild mode. Even with the addition of Antonio Brown, I don't know how good the Raiders are going to be. Broncos have Joe Flacco. Phillip Lindsay is an emerging star. I don't know if the Raiders' defense is good enough to stop him, but Joe Flacco's just going to have to prove him wrong. This is a tough one. I'm just going to go with the Raiders. Week 1, we'll just give them a home win just because I don't really know what to choose. So, basically, probably next, let's see, when should I do it? It's got to be Tuesday or Wednesday. Next Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm going to pull up this same page. All the scores will be up. I'll have all my predictions, and we're going to review which ones I got right and wrong, keep a track of my record, and then we're going to do the Week 2 predictions. That's how it's going to go. Pretty good stuff. I really enjoy doing this, and it's just fun to see my predictions be right or wrong, especially if I say someone's going to blow out someone and it's completely opposite. But yeah, anyways, I'm pretty excited for this NFL season. I cannot wait to start my Snapchat commentaries. Most of you don't even know what I'm talking about when I say that, but I'm thinking about, well, basically I document each of the games on my Snapchat story, and it's like a really long amount of videos and just whatever of highlights of the games. But what I'm thinking about doing this year is taking all those footages and combining them together and uploading them to YouTube, just to have another video of good football content. So, anyways, that is going to be it for Week 1 predictions. And until my next video, freaking deuces.